Let me turn now to Senator Thune. I want to thank you in so many different ways. The foundation for what we're calling our agricultural risk coverage program, you have been a tremendous leader on, and as well as advocate around energy and conservation, number of different areas. But we are here. Your effort with Senator Brown in putting forward what was a very thoughtful concept for us has really led us to the program that we have, and we thank you very much for that.
Well, thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I want to thank Ranking Member Roberts, first of all, to both of you for your hard work, and for the members of your staff who really have worked tirelessly for the past few weeks and months to bring us to where we are today. And I do appreciate your persistence in trying to get this thing moving, and in listening, as has been pointed out, and trying to accommodate the concerns that members from all over different parts of the country have, and in different representing different types of different commodities. This is no easy feat, and so congratulations to you and to Senator Roberts for to getting us to this point, and hopefully getting a bill to the floor where we can act on it and get something eventually on the President's desk, which I think is the goal that everybody has in mind. This farm bill does dramatically reform existing farm policy by eliminating and consolidating both commodity and conservation title programs and replacing some with new programs. And although most sectors of production agriculture are currently prosperous, we all know that risks are always going to be there, that crop and livestock prices and production can dramatically drop, sometimes overnight. Our farmers have told every one of us on this committee that crop insurance is their primary concern, and I sincerely thank Chairwoman and Ranking Member for not only preserving, but I think improving the crop insurance provisions in this bill. Change is never easy, especially when it comes to changing commodity title programs. If we could see the future and look a couple of years into it, we would see how the programs that we're voting on today will work. I think that would be more comfortable, but that's a luxury that we don't have. Shifting away from direct and countercyclical payments and eliminating Sure and Acre are bold changes to current farm policy, and I believe the budget baseline savings we've accomplished in this bill show that farmers and ranchers are more than willing to do more than their fair share when it comes to the issue of deficit reduction. And as the Chairwoman mentioned, late last year, two of my colleagues on this committee, Senators Brown and Lugar, along with Senator Durbin and I, introduced the Aggregate Revenue and Risk Management, or ARM, program, which the Congressional Budget Office scored to save more than $20 billion over 10 years. And I appreciate that many of the components of this bill's commodity title have been built from the groundwork laid out by the ARM program, including the elimination of Sure, Acre, direct and countercyclical payments. Although my preference in this farm bill is to have a commodity title that would have used a crop reporting district trigger coupled with a farm level trigger to determine eligibility, I do accept the producer one-time choice option between a single county level trigger and a farm level trigger with differing payment levels. I believe this is a reasonable compromise. It provides much more simplicity, and it's easier to understand than the Sure and Acre programs that we authorized in the 2008 Farm Bill. Additionally, with USDA's limited resources, I believe that the programs in the commodity title will be much easier and less costly to administer. I also believe the conservation title streamlining and consolidation of programs will still provide effective tools for farmers and ranchers to apply needed and sound stewardship practices to preserve their farm and ranch land. And I'm especially pleased with the common sense native sod and grassland conversion language in this bill that was added into the Chairwoman's mark from an amendment that I offered. The sod saver language does not prohibit a farmer from converting native sod or grassland. It simply reduces the crop insurance premium subsidy and applies rules that prohibit yield substitution for 4 years, which means that farmers who do convert native sod or grassland must depend on the production capability of the land to earn a profit, and not rely completely on crop insurance to turn a profit at taxpayer expense. I also offered an amendment that would allow commercial use of cover harvested from all acres enrolled in CRP as a result of midterm management requirements. Currently, policy requires that a farmer must be paid to remove the cover from certain CRP practices, and no commercial uses are allowed, meaning that a producer cannot donate or use that hay. In most cases, it must be burned, which really makes no sense when areas of the country are suffering from droughts and shortages of feed. It makes much more sense to allow commercial use of that hay, and to have the producer's rental payment reduce. I've been assured by committee staff that current language and report language adequately address this issue, so I'm going to withdraw that amendment, but we'll be watching carefully to make certain that we no longer have unnecessary destruction of cover occurring at taxpayer expense. I'm also pleased that the forestry title addresses the pine beetle epidemic found not only in the Black Hills of South Dakota, but also in national forest land across much of the southern and western United States. Not later than 60 days after the enactment of this bill, the Secretary must designate at least one national forest in each state, if requested by the governor of a state, and based on declining forest health, to carry out additional pine beetle treatment. This authorization carries an appropriation authorization of $100 million for each of the fiscal years 2013 through 2017. The pine beetle epidemic is critical, and I believe the additional action in the Farm Bill forestry title is an excellent start to ramping up efforts to meet this critical issue head-on. This is an issue I will continue to working hard to address outside the Farm Bill as well. Madam Chairwoman, Ranking Member Roberts, once again I want to thank you and the members of your staff for your efforts to bring us to where we are today. As was noted earlier, there are lots of former chair and ranking members on this committee. As you can see, when you're down at the end of the table, at the children's table, it will be a long time before I will be a ranking member or chairman, but I will be there just ahead of the senator from North Dakota. I think that's what I said, just barely. But I look forward to continuing as we work this through the process across the floor of the Senate and hopefully onto the President's desk before that important September 30th deadline. Thank you.